The Young African Women Congress, YAWC, is a Pan-African women's platform that brings together young women between the ages of 18 and 40 years from all the countries on the African continent.
I'm Professor Adumaku Ampofo, a professor of African and Gender Studies and the board chair of Extra Group, as well as the lead promoter, and proudly so, of the Young African Women's Congress. The Young African Women's Congress is a coming together of young women ages 18 to 40 from the Pan-African world, global Africa, if we can put it that way, to examine, interrogate, and respond to issues that concern women, that excite women, that can empower women, that can bring the continent forward through the lives and activities of women.
It is scheduled over a 5-day period featuring well-renowned women leaders, educationists, feminist activists, politicians, artists, entrepreneurs, and corporate leaders across the African continent to address issues pertinent to women and leadership on the continent.
My name is Esther Ama, and I'm so proud to be part of the YAWC family. YAWC is crucial. It matters that we have spaces where women of different ages and backgrounds, all from this rich continent of Africa, can gather to explore and envision their futures. Matters. Dreams don't come true. Vision enables them to be made real by bringing different types of women together, from academics to activists to artists to media and journalists, to have panels and discussions and explorations and interrogations of all the things that make life challenging. But ultimately what YAWC enables young women to do, these young African women to do, is to envision a life for themselves so they are part of the bright future that is Africa. For me, that is why YAWC is crucial.
Every year, we put a couple of issues on the front burner, ranging from women in leadership, women and entrepreneurship, sexual harassment, women in politics, Africa's demographic dividend, among others, and our delegates participate actively in the conversation. YAWC is endorsed by the UN Women through its West and Central African Regional Office. Every year, the office nominates one top official to represent them at the Congress. At the YAWC 2016, the Director for Women, Gender and Development at the African Union Commission, Mahawa Kabawila, delivered the keynote.
That thing in us that says you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not beautiful enough, we have to conquer it.
Other prominent personalities who have featured on the YAWC platform include Dr. Erica Burnett, Head of Missions, African Union Diaspora, African Forum; Comfort Lamte, UN Women Resident Representative for Nigeria; Her Excellency Claudia Tubeyo Quintero, Colombian Ambassador to Ghana; Professor Akosia Adumaku Ampofo, Professor of African and Gender Studies and Fulbright Scholar; Christine Evans-Clark, UNDP Resident Representative and UN Resident Coordinator for Ghana; Dr. Wangui Wagoro, Kenyan writer, public intellectual, editor, academic and translator; Professor Angela Oforiata, Associate Professor of Clinical Psychology; Honorable Hannah Tete, former Ghanaian Minister for Foreign Affairs; Dr. Maxime Winato, UN Women Representative for Mali; Esther Ama, renowned international journalist, formerly of BBC; Her Excellency Irene Vidagala, former Brazilian Ambassador to Ghana; Angela Dramana Abuaje, Ghanaian lawyer and women's rights activist, among others. In addition to the intellectual discourse and knowledge sharing, YAWC also promotes youth exchanges, appropriate education, and particularly in science, engineering, mathematics and technology, entrepreneurship, African culture and tourism, ecology and environmental protection, and Africa's integration in line with Africa's Vision 2063 for an African Renaissance and Sustainable Development Goals. We are therefore optimistic that as we carry discussions beyond confined platforms, we are already bound to achieve demonstrable and substantive results that do not only inure to the benefit of individual women, but Africa and the world as a whole. YAWC is here just in time for this movement. Through our post-YAWC projects, which are led by participants of the Congress, we are sure to turn recommendations into projects, considering the circumstances of individual women and leaving no woman or girl behind.
From my experience, having been part of both the first and the second, I would say that it has engendered a certain passion, it has encouraged the delegates to carry on with what they are already doing, to recognize that what they are doing is impactful, but also to marshal them together to do more for the communities that they come from, and to see that they can impact their nations, and that you don't have to be, at the top of the stage, so to speak, before your impact can be felt. To encourage them, to make them feel empowered. The little things, little in quotes, that they do in their communities is really meaningful in bringing about change, whether it's teaching in a school, whether it's working in a bank, whether it's leading an NGO, whether it's starting an NGO, whether it's about issues that are directly related to women's lives, maybe empowering women through microfinance, or whether it's something that's more broadly accessible to the society as a whole, let's say with climate change or with dealing with sanitation in your environment. I think that the participants, but also the leaders, those who are the speakers, have been empowered to see that they can make a difference. Sometimes you have women who are leaders in the corporate world, and their work is not directly related to gender issues. And I think that bringing them together in this YAWC space has also enabled them to see how powerful they are in changing the lives of other women and in changing certain gender dynamics within their places of work, within their communities, and so forth.
My name is YAWC Documentary. I'm the administrator for the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Victory Congregation at Fafaha. As a leader, as a female leader, I've really been empowered by the Young African Women's Congress. I've been a participant on 2 occasions. In 2016, I participated in the maiden one, and in 2017, I was also there. And I'm particularly excited by the number of speakers that we have on the YAWC conference. You get the opportunity to mingle with high-profile ladies and women of substance who come down to earth, mingle with us, tell us a lot of struggles they've been through, and they are so real. They don't come with their suits, they don't come with their positions, quote and unquote, but they come and they address, issues on the ground. Personally, I see I'm bold, I'm courageous. I can see the way my confidence level has arisen. I sit on panels to do interviews, and I'm so on top of my job, and I can see I've been empowered because of the Young African Women's Congress. Last year at the YAWC 2017, we were challenged by one of the speakers. She gave the keynote address. She was from Kenya, and she said we should start a project that will be celebrated this year. I came back home, and that dream really made me set targets. I started working towards it. And to God's grace, I've been able to start something. This is a 9-month-old project that is still going. The farm started last year in October with 300 beds. Eggs production has really increased, and it increases day by day. Today we were able to pick 260 eggs, which makes it 8 crates plus. But the maximum production we expected is 290 eggs daily. This project came about last year after I attended YAWC, and I was challenged by the keynote speaker that anyone who could start a project worth celebrating the following year. Yes, so that was what really gave birth to this project. I have 2 farm hands who have been helping. They are young ladies, cousins of mine, who have been helping. So we are making strides bit by bit.
My name is Maria Johanna Yupo. I come from Nandom in the Upper West region of Ghana. I was opportune to be a participant at the Young African Women's Congress in 2017. Attending that Congress changed my perspective about life totally. It has made me a very optimistic person in life, and I see prospects in all the things that I see and do around me. Attending the Congress, I met other young women from all over Africa and Ghana as well. These young ladies were occupying various positions in varying industries and striving so hard to make Africa a better place. At that Congress, I saw the network within African young women, and I saw that there is a lot of future for the African young woman. There were seasoned facilitators ranging from academics to renowned entrepreneurs to politicians who engaged us and gave us a lot of insight to the work environment where we find ourselves in Africa. I personally developed an interest in political activities right at the Congress. It also made me have inclinations to further myself in my academic field. My entrepreneurial dreams were much realized after the Congress. Immediately after the Congress, I registered my company called Mara Foods, which involves itself in processing northern foods like dawa dawa, beans flour, groundnut paste, baobab fruit powder, to mention but a few. At the Congress, a challenge was thrown which propelled and motivated me to start a project which I call Beautiful Smiles Project in the Nandom district. Beautiful Smiles Project motivates, urges, trains and guides young girls in junior high schools in the Nandom district to stay in school and attain education to the highest level. Sewing, bead making, anything that they can put their hands on and keep them busy and active in school. The whole idea is to stop these young girls from going down south during vacations to do menial jobs for money to buy a necessity that they need to stay in school. So the accessories made from the Beautiful Smiles project would be sold, and the monies gotten from that used to buy these necessities for these girls to stay in school. Young African Women's Congress is a place to be for every young lady, and I urge all young ladies out there between the ages of 18 and 40 to be a part of Young African Women's Congress come July.
Due to this, we have set up a fund to recognize with a prize participants who initiate economic and social intervention projects and also support projects reach their full potential.
The Akans have a saying that Yadinam Nechinam, which loosely translated means something to the effect that you need fish in order to catch fish. And you need little fish, lots of little fish to catch lots of big fish. And so here we are appealing to you to join us in this fishing expedition to get the little fish, to catch the big fish. YAWC has a number of expenses for the accommodation and the feeding and the entire program of the Congress, but also costs associated with the projects that our delegates want to get engaged in when they go back to their communities. Some of them will need a little help just to push them to get their projects off the ground, or if they already have existing projects, in order to give those projects some mileage. So, again, the Akan say, nothing is too small. We will happily take cash. We can take credits for our phones. You can give us a bus to ferry our delegates around, fuel it for us. You are best positioned to know how you can help us the most. But this is really just to request that you play your little part in enabling the work that YAWC is doing to spread across the continent in a truly Pan-Africanist way.
Young African Women Congress, empowering women for continental development and integration for a better world. To donate, log on to www.yawcafrica.org and select the category that you would like to support.